Fairfield County Fair. First held in Lancaster, Ohio in October of 1850, through the years, it's remained a place for young and old to celebrate community, agriculture, family, and fun. Check out the art, the history, the animals, the games, the shows, the rides, the food, the tradition. Discover why people come from all over the Midwest to experience the Fairfield County Fair year after year. Keep up with what's going on year-round at the fair with Tim Voris.
Welcome to At the Fair, and I appreciate you tuning in today to this program. What an exciting week at the Fairfield County Fairgrounds. Great weather, great turnout. Some of our rides, concessionaires had said that probably one of the best fairs in Ohio that they had on turnouts for our rides, and I think it really was part of that weather. That was warm weather. We had a lot of turnout for that, and it was just a great fair with a lot of exciting things. Harness racing, I always enjoy the harness racing, so I got to go over to the harness racing and watch some of those things, learn some of the new things that are going on at the Fairfield County Fair. Our Ag Amazing building went very well. Kids over there that were playing in the corn, all the different things, the tractor, and many of the events put on by the Fairfield County FFA, our OSU Extension Office. Connie and Stan Smith, thank you. You guys did a great job this year setting that up. Did a really nice job, and I think a lot of people enjoy that. And I hope we bring it back next year, and I think it's going to be more exciting next year. So welcome, and as we talk about the fair and all the wonderful things that happen, we have some special guests with us today. Some of our blue ribbon winners, and I'd like to introduce to you Kathy Rowley from Pickerington. Kathy, welcome to the program.
Hi, how are you?
Nice to meet you. Tell me a little bit about Kathy.
Well, we live in Pickerington, and my husband and I have been married 57 years, and we have 5 children and 12 grandchildren and 5 great-grandchildren and another one on the way. And I like to quilt.
Now, you came to the Fairfield County Fair this year.
Yes, sure did.
Okay, and got to go around and see some of the food and the
yes.
different things?
Well, we went to the harness races.
Okay.
And my husband particularly likes to watch the horses where they have the young people that are being judged.
Down at the riding arena with our horse
at the riding
and 4-H
arena.
club?
We spent time there, and of course we walked through the arts and crafts building and looked at everything in there.
Now we have a special guest in our room today, and that's your husband, Paul.
Yes.
And you have been married, you and Paul have been married 57 years.
That's right.
And you stopped down to the LOH building during that program and enjoyed that?
Mm-hmm, we sure did.
Good, good. Now you have a special talent.
Well, I like to make quilts.
You like to make quilts.
Yes.
And you're one of our blue ribbon winners this year in our art hall.
Yes, I got first place this year.
That's great. That's wonderful.
And that's this quilt right here.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about that quilt.
Well, it's hexagons, and they're little plastic hexagons, and you wrap the fabric around it and secure the edges, and then you sew the hexagons together by hand. So the whole thing is done by hand.
Okay.
And then I hand quilted it. I have a large frame in my basement at home, and I hand quilted that. And this is the 3rd one of these that I have done.
Okay. I noticed there are little bears on there on the one side. What are those?
Well, some of the fabric I was able to what they call fussy cut, and that way I was able to place a little bear head where I wanted it.
Like a teddy bear? Uh-huh.
Yes,
Okay.
And there's others in here. There's one up here that says Gracie on it.
Okay.
And I fussy cut that, and we have a granddaughter, Gracie, and one back here, Olivia.
Okay.
And again, I had fabric that had Olivia on it, and I cut it out so that it
Now something like that looks like a quilt that could probably lay across the back of a couch or on a bed.
Both. It's bed size, and or you could put it on the back of a couch. At home I keep it over the back of a chair.
Okay.
And just I like it out where I can see it.
If somebody wanted to get into quilting or start doing that, what advice could we give them, or what could you share with them about putting together a quilt?
Well, there are a lot of quilt shops around right now. There's one right here in Lancaster.
Okay.
And they have classes that you can take.
Okay.
And so if somebody had never done any sewing, I would recommend that maybe you take a class. But I had done a lot of sewing all since I was in junior high school, making clothing. And so it kind of came natural to me to be able to do this and to be able to piece quilts and so forth.
Now, were you in 4-H or FFA as a young person?
No, I was not. I grew up in the city and they didn't have things like that.
Okay, all right. It looks very nice, and you've done a
Thank
wonderful
you.
job
Thank
on
you.
that. And you had shared with me a story not too long ago as we were talking about the quilt that you and your mother worked
Yes.
on.
A quilt just like this one was the first one I had done. And I was living in Pennsylvania at that time, and I was sewing these things together, and you form a flower, what I call a flower.
Okay.
And so she was visiting me, and she said, could I do that? I think I could do that.
And
I
had
said,
she done that before?
no,
Okay.
no, she had, and so I showed her how to do it, and so she started working on. She made most of the flowers of the not this quilt, but the other one, and she finished it. I sewed them all together, and then I quilted it, and I finished it, and showed it to her. She saw it, and about 2 weeks later, she passed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And so I was so thrilled that she got to see it. And so that was in April. And in October, we entered it in the fair. And that's the first one I ever entered in a fair.
Okay.
And it got first place. And I was so thrilled because she would have been thrilled to death
Oh,
at
I'm
that.
sure she
So
was.
that was in 2003.
Okay.
That was the first time I went to the fair.
Okay.
Entered anything
Now,
in the fair.
you've entered several things throughout the years at our fair?
Yes, I've got them written down here.
Okay.
I have Best of Show 2008, 9, and 10, and 11.
Uh-huh.
I have 12 first places, 4 second places, 1 third place, and 3 fourth place.
That is so wonderful. That is so wonderful. And you know, the good Lord above, I think, gives us all a talent and gift to give back. And this is one of the ways that I think is really the art hall. When I walked through the art hall this year at the fair, there were many wonderful quilts, many wonderful displays of vegetables, of fruits. I went to the bake sale, and I've never been to the bake sale at the Fairfield County Fair Art Hall. And I tell you, Sean Malone was over there and does a great job with some of the things, and he's kind of like our superintendent that oversees those things. But I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the camaraderie of the people, and I got to listen to stories much like you have today of, you know, it's a generation after generation of people coming back to the fair year after year, presenting their goods and their services and things, and this is just very, very cool, very cool.
One of the things that I do, I make baby quilts and give them away.
Oh.
And there's an organization over in Blacklick or over that way where they have women come in that are in need, and they're expecting babies. And so our church has a baby shower.
Okay.
And you just bring everything you have, you know, all new stuff.
Sure.
And so I have donated quilts to that program.
Okay.
And so I usually make 5, 6, 7 quilts a year that I donate.
Wow.
And they're baby quilts.
Yeah.
And I've donated some to Children's Hospital, and so.
That's very cool.
You know,
that's very nice to do, ma'am. Now, earlier we were talking about this beautiful.
This is a table runner.
A table runner. Okay, I'm a little naive to these things.
I understand.
You know, I've been chasing bad guys most of my career. I haven't been checking out quilts. But it looks like these are hexagon
These
design.
are hexagons.
Okay. And this is a table runner.
This is a table runner. Goes down the middle of a table, a dining room table or something like that.
Just as a decorative type of.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And this one is machine quilted. It's hand pieced, machine quilted with invisible thread, so you can't really see the thread, you know, in there. But
Okay. Invisible thread. I've
Yeah.
never even heard of such a
Yeah.
thing. So is it hidden under here somewhere that you can see?
it's right here on top.
Right there on top. It looks very cool. And then over here to our right, we have a blue ribbon
Yes.
quilt that you did.
I did that one in 2011, I think, is
Okay.
the year on that one. That is a Civil War quilt. It's the fabrics are all Civil War era fabrics, and the pattern too.
Okay.
And it's quite large. It's about 100 by 109 inches, so it would be for a queen size bed, a king size bed.
Okay.
And that one, Best of Show at Fairfield County Fair, and
That's
you know.
very neat. Now, when you start designing these or putting these together, do you have an idea of where that quilt's going to go when you start making it? Like, do you design a queen size or a king size based on?
Well, I tend to make them for people.
Okay.
We have 5 children, and I've made quilts for, you know, all of them, and so I'll know about what size their bed is and what their color preferences are and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then I enter them in the fair.
Yeah, sure.
This one is a little bit different. I took a class, and this one was the Civil War era.
Okay.
And so I took a class, and I made it, and not for anybody in particular. I think I know who I'm going to give it to. But,
Sure. Well, that's very neat.
Yeah.
And so somebody starting out to become interested in doing some of these, like you say, you would start out with maybe joining a club or going to some type of class.
The other thing you can do is there are a lot of quilting magazines. If you buy a quilting magazine, you can find in there where they have a block of the month clubs, and each month you would get a block to work on, and it gives you directions and the fabric and directions and everything. So if you were just starting out, that would be a good way to do it too.
Okay.
And you can find those in a lot of quilting magazines. And,
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good. Well, I really appreciate you joining me today.
Very
It's a pleasure to meet you
Pleasure to
and your
meet you,
husband,
too.
Paul. Thanks for stopping in today at the fair. And we'll look forward to maybe seeing some of your quilts next year
Okay.
at the Fairfield County Fair. What a unique talent that you have. And
Well,
thank
thank
you
you.
for sharing that talent
Thank
with
you.
us. Thank you for tuning in today to At the Fair. I wanted to thank a few minutes our Fairfield Christian Academy, Nauman Signs, and Friends of the Fair that help us each week present this program to you. Thanks again, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the fair.